Good morning, everyone. My name is Elliot Payne. I'm the president of Minneapolis City Council. Before we convene our meeting, we have a few presentations of honorary resolutions. We are pleased to welcome guests into this space to share in these presentations before we start our agenda. And our first resolution will be honoring Officer Jamal Mitchell. And I'll invite council members Rainville and Vita up to present that resolution and any other council members who want to join.
They're having a little trouble, technical trouble, so we're going to hold on for a second. Technology is always your friend until it's not.
At the right time. Yeah.
Council member, we are having some technical difficulties with the broadcast, so if we could just pause while our AV team gets that resolved. Okay, we are good to go.
Well, welcome everybody. So, my name is Councilmember Michael Rainville. I'm with Councilmember Latricia Vita, and on behalf of the whole City Council, we are going to present this resolution to honor the life of Officer Jamal Mitchell. So, Latricia, if you can start us off.
Whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell made the ultimate sacrifice as a Minneapolis police officer on May 30th, 2024, Officer Jamal Mitchell was the first to reach the scene of a shots fired call where he found two men wounded in the street. He went to offer aid to one of the men and tragically lost his life. And whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell was a much-loved son, brother, nephew, father, fiance, and friend. And whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell was born and raised in Connecticut and moved to Minnesota 6 years ago to have a better life for him, his partner Tori, and their family. And whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell's greatest joy in life was being the father to Keon, Jalen, Caden, and Mason. And whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell became a police officer for the Minneapolis Police Department in 2022, he was excited to join MPD, loved his job, and was proud to serve the city of Minneapolis. And whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell's courage and character were revealed just 3 days into his service when he dashed into a burning building to help rescue an elderly couple, an act of valor that won him a life-saving award. And whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell would state in the interview, that's why I got into law enforcement to do, save lives and serve the community. And
whereas, beyond his bravery, Officer Mitchell was known for a friendly demeanor on the street, engaging with residents and earning people's trust. And whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell had a heart for people, whether it was flashing his big smile or chatting up new people, Mitchell always tried to uplift the people around him. And whereas Police Chief Brian O'Hara expressed, Officer Mitchell loved the job. He loved the Minneapolis police, and he was faithful to the oath he swore unto his death. He died a hero, and like police officers in Minneapolis here and everywhere, he was one of the few who had the courage to stand up and answer the call every single day. He died doing what we asked him to do for the rest of us. And whereas Assistant Chief Katie Blackwell shared that after Officer Mitchell responded to an incident, he would often go back a few days later just to check in with the victim. And whereas Assistant Chief Christopher Gators remembered Officer Mitchell as someone with an easy smile who treated everyone he met with respect and kindness, and who won goodwill from many who live and work in South Minneapolis. And whereas Officer Jamal Mitchell, embodied the Minneapolis Police Department motto, to protect with courage, to serve with compassion, and whereas Officer Mitchell was a hero, and his selfless actions will not be forgotten. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Mayor and City Council do hereby honor fallen Minneapolis Police Officer Jamal Mitchell, who exemplified dedication, bravery, and service, and vow that his unwavering commitment to safeguarding others will leave a legacy of service that will always be remembered. Tori? Chief, could you say a few words? But before you start, I do want to acknowledge the chaplains who are on the audience. Thank you so much for your service. Faith is so important. So thank you for being here today. Chief.
Thank you to the members of the council, the governing body, for this resolution. It is right and just that Jamal be honored. Jamal lived his life as a hero. He was absolutely everything we could possibly ask in a police officer for this city today. And as I've said before, he was exceptional, but he's not the exception. We will never forget Jamal. We will continue to be there for you and for his children forever. But I know there's been tons of stories told. I also want to acknowledge the countless residents who have continued to share their love with us and to share stories and memories of Jamal. And with that being said, I also want to remind everyone of the quality of the men and women that are here, that are standing in this room. Jamal was one of many heroes that are here with us. And I am incredibly honored to wear this uniform beside all of the men and women that you see here. All the stories there are about Jamal, there are stories about all of these people here. And I'm thankful especially for the young men and women in those gray shirts behind us, the diverse group of our community service officers that are stepping up to carry on. This police department has been through a lot, just like this city has, but it is turning around. And we will continue to live on and do what's right and not turn our backs on the residents of this community in memory of Jamal. And we will continue to do what's right and just and live as honorable police officers in a profession that is noble just like he did. And we will never forget. So thank you again to the council, and thank you to the men and women that continue to carry on in his legacy, a life of purpose and a life of service to the people of this city. Thank you.
Get a quick picture and then we'll... Look straight at it.
Next, we will welcome up Council Members Chavez and Osman for recognizing our urban scholars.
Hello, how's everyone doing? Today we're recognizing our Urban Scholar program. Many of our Urban Scholars are up here with us today, so we're just going to read this resolution, and we provided one with each of them too. So we'll finish with our marks, but just wanted to let you all know what it was. So we're honoring and recognizing the brilliance and contribution of Urban Scholars. Whereas Urban Scholars is a leadership and professional development program where students from diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds learn how to navigate today's workplace while equipping both students and organizations with the tools, experiences, and guidance necessary to shift organizational culture towards an equitable workforce and
the city of Minneapolis created Urban Scholars in 2012 to address the employment disparity in our city. Since approximately 34% of scholars, alumni, have become employed by the city of Minneapolis. There have been over 600 scholars since the program began. And whereas scholars establish a pipeline of experienced, diverse professional for public sector leadership, and on June 3rd, 2024, the city of Minneapolis, Hennepin County, Minneapolis Public Housing Authority, State of Minnesota, the API Group inaugurated the 13 coherent urban scholars made up to 41 culturally competent, collaborative, resilient, and selflessness of young and talent. And whereas
the names. We wanted to make sure we don't mess anybody's names up.
So they brought in the big guns. Samia Abdul. Yep. Okay, sorry. Samia Abdul, Fatima Aden, Roslyn Amayao, Chinwinwa Anye Mele, Rakisha Brown, Hawa Abdullahi, McKenna Fitzpatrick, Oliver Flugel Murray, Isra Hersey, Abdullahi Jama, Godwin Kasoguma, Caitlin Lapata, Diane Maceo Sandoval, Satya Mamdani, Olivia Martin, Arsen Martishuk, Seal Moscon, Micah Meyer, Sandra Mordy, Athira Nira, Olivia Rosaria, Georgia Schaefer Brown, Noah Schmidt, Hanan Shire, Hanan Abdi Rashid Shire, Miana Sledge, Carly St. Martin Norberg, Peyton Stark, Colin Stith, Marciana Taylor, Marin Taylor, Radiate Tashoma Anlin Thuchel, Stephen Tran, Lyle Ware, Emma Wailagi, Richard Zhu, Aiden Yang, Kai Yang, Yang Yang, and Hathel Yusuf.
Whereas the City of Minneapolis recognizes and appreciates each urban scholar for making significant and lasting contributions to the city and the region. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council do hereby proclaim August 15th, 2024 as Urban Scholar Day in the City of Minneapolis and a time to recognize and congratulate scholars on the many contributions made to the Twin Cities region and its many communities. Before I say a few words, Councilmember Osman, if you want to say a few things, I'll have staff, maybe if an urban scholar wants to speak, and I have some things I want to say too.
Well, I want to thank you all urban scholars for really your commitment for the last few months. And I want to especially thank Marciana, who has been amazing to our office and great experience. And we'd love you to stay around the city. You heard 34% of urban scholars alumni continue to work for the City of Minneapolis. So thank you.
Awesome. I also want to thank Lyle for his work here in the Ward 9 office. And the last year I had Rebecca, and the year before that I had Dania. So it's been an incredible Urban Scholar program that we've had. And just for those of you that don't know, I actually was in the Urban Scholar program. So I was in the program for 4 years, and now I'm actually a city council member in the city of Minneapolis, and I got to be an urban scholar for 2 different council offices. And the reason I say that out loud today is because that's what all of you can be in the future. It's the work that this program does. It literally transforms people's lives. I would say that it transformed my life. And this program literally puts you in top tier when you want to find different jobs. People see this and they're like, you have a good resume and you've done really good work to develop your leadership. So I really do want to congratulate all of you for the work that you all have done, the work that you will continue to do. And if you come back next year, please stop by. Yeah. And if folks want to say some few words.
We have a few. Colin?
The beauty of this program, in my eyes, was the opportunity to develop my worldview through the lens of 41 other ambitious people, fellow young students, who sought the chance to witness local level impact for 55 days of their summer. The urban scholars who I met this summer filled me with a renewed faith in the capability we possess and the secret power inherent to being young and filled with curiosity. We prepared questions every day, filling our peers and leaders' ears with questions about how we could make an impact on the life of people in Minnesota. As we spent time interacting with a city with concrete goals, I found that economic and labor development were being tirelessly protected by a team of brilliant contract compliance officers I worked with for 44 days, fighting for every individual construction worker and developing small businesses where they could. I met innovators trying to work with every department in the city to create outcomes with impact, working alongside city clerks trying to ensure every piece of data was accounted for and to make our elections like Tuesday's primary as fair and accessible as possible. There are leaders and mentors everywhere in these walls, advancing and refining process after process, aiming to uphold the future, and I felt lucky enough to encounter leaders that viewed me as the future. I feel so lucky to have crossed paths with Director Johnny Burns and his guidance during my opportunity here, instilling a unique and powerful empathy I will carry with me forevermore. He has stories to tell, a love of due diligence, and an unwavering respect for the strengths of anyone under his supervision. Seeing his face light up when he met a construction worker, an average Minneapolis citizen he fought to protect, changed how I think about public servitude. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Kate Lapata, and I'm an urban scholar with the Neighborhood and Community Relations Department. During my time at Urban Scholars, I have built my confidence. Going into the summer, I was terrified of working in a professional setting. I thought I wasn't qualified, and everyone would know that I didn't belong. When I interviewed, I was asked to define professionalism. I described it as old white men in suits. As a young queer woman, I knew I didn't fit into that mold, and I struggled to see how I would belong in this position. After 12 weeks, my definition has changed. I know I belong in these spaces. I know that I am smart, skilled, and capable. Thanks to neighborhood and community relations, civil rights, and my fellow urban scholars, I am confident in who I am and what I can do.
Hello, good morning. Thank you, City Council, for kind of recognizing the Urban Scholars Program. I love the Urban Scholars Program for many reasons, but I think the biggest one for me is simply the fact that it respects us, right? I think it respects our culture, our background, and our identities, but most of all, it respects our youth and our inexperience. I'll never forget this experience. I was working on a rulemaking assignment with a bunch of lawyers at my department over at the Department of Labor, and I told my supervisor, you know, I feel a little bit out of my depth working with seasoned lawyers, right? And I'm supposed to be telling them what I think is right. But what she said was that my unique perspective as someone who was outside of their department, as someone who was younger than them, actually mattered a lot for that project, that it would have an impact. And that was kind of shocking to me. But once I saw the opportunity, I really just took it and I think ran with it. So I want to recognize the fact that Urban Scholars, to me, is a testament to the fact that young people, we are not all disconnected from politics. We want to grow, we want to learn, and we want to be involved. And if you give us that opportunity, we will take it.
Good afternoon. Is this thing on? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Fatima Aiden, and I'm an incoming sophomore at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. So when I told my immigrant parents, Somali parents, before my freshman year that I wanted to make a career out of working to better our underserved, underprivileged communities, they looked me dead in the face and said, "So you're not going to be a doctor?" Okay. So I realized when I told them that I was going to be an urban scholar, they truly realized the passion and impact of what I wanted to do. Whether that be me presenting to the city council twice, or me telling them about all the incredible, unique work that our city employees do, I learned more about myself and my passions through my amazing experiences working in Urban Scholars. Now, my parents have expanded past their "you're either going to be a doctor or you're going to be nothing" mentality, and they support me throughout all my own choices. I mean, they are even sadder that Urban Scholars is ending more than I am. Thank you to my supervisors at Neighborhood and Community Relations. Thank you to the amazing leaders behind Urban Scholars, and thank you to each and every one of you in the city for making my experience incredible. Better cry.
We'll just take a quick photo and then
Can we, before we do that, we've just got one more.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to congratulate all of the Urban Scholars on a great summer. I've met a few of you this summer. You know, I've always had Urban Scholars in my office since its inception, since the program started. I did not have an Urban Scholar this year, though I did have an intern from the University of Minnesota school, the Humphrey School of Public Policy, Ryan Pritchard. So I want to give him a shout out. He had a great summer. But, you know, as Councilmember Chavez said, this experience can take you to many, many places. And so I hope you guys appreciate this moment. Come back next summer if you're still in school. If you're out of school, come back, because we have a role for you here at the City of Minneapolis. So thank you all for your work this summer, and good luck in your studies.
Oh, there's a middle row, so.
And finally, we will welcome Councilmember Chavez for a resolution recognizing the closure of Smith's Foundry.
All right, how are y'all doing? We're gonna be recognizing the organizing efforts of the Shutdown Smith Coalition. The reason we are doing this today is because many of the organizers in Phillips, many other organizers in South Minneapolis, and just Minneapolis in general, have been advocating for clean air and water in Phillips for too long. And there may have been a lot of government action to try to close down Smith Foundry, but ultimately, none of that is what actually made it happen. It was the organizing efforts of people on the ground advocating for change, advocating for the right to breathe clean air in East Phillips and Phillips in general. And we want to make a moment to make sure that these folks up here were recognized for their efforts to change the direction of Phillips in general and South Minneapolis. So with that, we'll start. It's recognizing the organizing efforts of the Shutdown Smith Coalition. Whereas Smith Foundry melted metal for cast iron parts since 1923 and announced on July 26, 2024 that they will cease all foundry operations in East Phillips on or before August 15, 2024. And whereas East Phillips is a diverse neighborhood with an estimated Black, Indigenous, and people of color population of 80%, and
whereas the highest estimated rates of air pollution-related death and disease are found in neighborhoods with the largest percentage of BIPOC residents. And whereas zip codes with the largest percentage of BIPOC residents across the Twin Cities metro experience more than 5 times the rate of asthma emergency room visits related to air pollution compared to areas with more white residents.
And whereas the Environmental Protection Agency alleged that Smith Foundry failed to properly operate its pollution control equipment, exceeded particulate matter emission limits for its industrial process equipment, and violated airborne particulate matter rules, and whereas the East Phillips Neighborhood Institute, Little Earth Protectors, East Phillips Improvement Coalition, Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy, Círculo de Amigos staff and parents, Climate Justice Committee, and Democratic Socialists of America, collectively, the Shutdown Smith Coalition, came together and fought for the health and well-being of residents in the East Phillips neighborhood and the surrounding community, and
All right. Okay. Whereas the Shutdown Smith Coalition's relentless organizing efforts have been focused on addressing systemic inequities and a steadfast commitment to environmental justice.
Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council do hereby honor the individuals and organizations who make up the Shutdown Smith Coalition for their outstanding contribution in seeking environmental justice for the East Phillips neighborhood and the whole of Minneapolis. Thank you.
I'm going to actually call up Joe. I didn't tell you had to speak, but I'm making you speak. If you want to say a few words, and I'm going to give you these resolutions that you can also hand out to the different organizations and organizers. And we have a lot more in the back, too, so we just have to put them in folders. Yeah. I don't want to play hot potato with the mic here, but Desiree, did you want to come up after me? And that's intentional, council member. And thank you so much, City Council and the Mayor, for recognizing the collective efforts of the East Phillips neighborhood. And the purpose of me, bringing up Desiree is that, neighbors, impacted stakeholders such as parents from the daycare across the street from Smith Foundry, they're the ones that made this happen. Absolutely. And it's a big coalition that's rooted not only in culture, but one in environmental justice. And it's been a long time coming. We have Joan Von Hollow, where we want to recognize her efforts ever since 1995 with the Good Neighbor Agreement. Joan. And also former Representative Karen Clark for her work with her EJ bills and the cumulative impacts bill that, ultimately really kneecapped Smith Foundry in its efforts. So recognize her as well. So this group is not done. It has a lot more work to do. And with that, I'll let a parent tell you why.
Hey, everybody. My name's Desiree D'Antona. I am a parent of a kiddo at Círculo de Amigos, which is just an awesome child care center right across the street from Smith. My kiddo's 4.5. Obviously, this little one will be going there soon. And I can't tell you how much this means to me, knowing that I can send both my kiddos there and not have to worry every day. And I'm not the only parent who has been in that situation. And obviously, my experience is a tiny blip on the timeline of how long communities in that area have been feeling this way and fearing for their children. It's not fair. And so I can think I speak for many of us when I say we feel like we've achieved the impossible. And so just this incredible mixture of different community groups and individuals in the area taking advantage of leverage that we have right now that we didn't have in the past. As you've heard, Smith has been operating with an outdated and insufficient permit since 1992, and even before then, it was polluting the neighborhood. So we know that we have a lot more to do. Smith was not the only polluter in our city, and other neighborhoods in our city are fighting the same fight. And so we want to continue to support those community groups. We also have a lot of work ahead of us in site remediation. We want to make sure that the community has a seat at the table for that. And we also want our city to know that we don't have to pit workers against environmental justice. They're part of our community too. So we're all in this together. We're having a celebration tomorrow at 5:30, Cedar Lake Park, right? Is that right? So please come and join us. Cedar Field Park, sorry. So please come and join us. It's a celebration of a healthier community, thanks to everybody that you see here and so many more people that you don't. So thank you.
Pass it on to Joan.
Yeah, Joan Van Hell. I've been a resident of Phillips neighborhood for over 40 years, and I just want to say, let the healing begin. Thank you so much, community. We're awesome as always. Southside, I'm so proud. Phillips, I'm so proud of each and every one of us, because we know what we need and we know how to get it, even if it takes a long time, because we don't forget, And I myself, I have elevated blood lead levels in my body from living down the street from a foundry for 30 years. So I'm grateful to breathe again. I want our community to become the experts on our own healing. I want our community to become the experts on what we need to have healthy children and healthy families. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Good. Good. All right, we'll just take a quick picture, and then my team will be in the back. We have extra resolutions unless someone else is speaking. Okay, we're good. We have more resolutions in the back, and my team member Yvonne will just work with all of you to get it in the back. They're not in folders because they're just extras that we have, but we can work with you to get them in nice shape. So we'll just take a quick picture. Thank you. Yeah, we'll just pretend we like each other.
I like this city council.
With you.
Don't give up on me, Garen. Good to see you. You look great. You do. You look really good.
I appreciate it. Did a lot of good work here.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'm going to call this regular meeting of the City Council for August 15th to order. I'll note that Councilmember Ellison reached out and communicated his absence in advance, and with that, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to verify the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Present.
Councilmember Cashman.
Present.
Councilmember Osman.
Present.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Vita.
Present.
Councilmember Koski.
Present.
Councilmember Wansley.
Present.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Present.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Present.
Vice President Shugtai.
Present.
President Payne.
Present.
There are 12 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members and staff that this meeting is broadcast live to enable greater public participation. The broadcast includes real-time captioning as a further method to increase the accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. With that, the agenda for today's meeting is before us. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Not seeing any. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and the agenda is adopted. The next item is acceptance of the minutes from our regular meeting on August 1st. I would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and those minutes have been accepted. Finally, we have the referral of petitions, communications, and reports to proper committees. May I have that motion, please?
So moved. Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and those matters have been referred. The next order of business is the presentation of reports from our standing committees. Those are taken in alphabetical order, beginning with the report of our Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne.
The Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee is bringing forward 17 items for approval. The first is a gift acceptance from Polet Family Foundation of travel and lodging expenses. 2 is gift acceptance from City Match of travel, lodging, conference registration, and per diem. 3 is a gift acceptance from Smart Sheet of conference registration. 4 is Advanced Meter Infrastructure Project reapproving appropriations and bonding for implementing advanced metering infrastructure. 5 is a bid for traffic marking, thermoplastic. 6 is a bid for state parking, ramps, and skyways, roof restoration project. 7 is a bid for electrical switchgear replacement at the Convention Center. 8 is a contract with Brycer LLC for an information management solution for registered backflow assembly compliance. 9 is contract with State of Minnesota for air quality monitoring stations on city property. 10 is a contract with Hennepin Technical College for police cadet training. 11 is a contract with community-based development organizations for workforce development services. 12 is contract amendment with Auto Truck Service Co., Inc. for collision and mechanical repair. 13 is contract amendment with Neptune and Company, Inc. for water toxicity monitoring system. 14 is contract amendment with Meyer Contracting, Inc. for the Hennepin Ave South Street reconstruction project. 15 is a lease agreement with Coco LLC for facility and meeting room space. 16 is a legal settlement, Ray Harris Jr. v. City of Minneapolis. And I'm sorry, I'm only seeing 16 items on my script. I said 17 earlier, but I will move all those items for approval and stand for any questions.
Councilmember Wansley has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call. Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, Chair. I was just curious about item number 15, the 6-month lease with Coco LLC. I'm just curious, what is the lease? Why are we using this space?
Mr. Clerk, would you like to speak to that?
Mr. President, I can. This is a lease that the Office of City Clerk on behalf of the Legislative Department brought forward. I did send an email and can nudge that back to the beginning so you can read more details. Essentially what this is adding additional meeting spaces for council members to use. We have a limited number of spaces in the Legislative Department, as you know, 2 conference rooms and 13 council members. So the COCO is a collaborative workspace, and it's located directly across from City Hall. It's connected through the tunnel system under City Hall. It's immediately adjacent to and has a connectivity to the Hoff parking ramp, so that council members can use those spaces to meet with constituents, to meet with the community, and not be, we're struggling to find the use of 2 conference rooms in the spaces that we're in now. And so this was an attempt to find additional meeting space for council members specifically, and based on the original contract is for the rest of this year, based on usage and what we find for that, we would potentially in the future bring another contract to extend that, knowing that that space is still contiguous or next to City Hall into the future. And so it was an attempt to provide additional space for council members to have meetings with their constituents and members of the community.
Thank you. We have an entire public service building and City Hall. There's no meeting spaces in those facilities?
Mr. President, I'll just say that it is a routine experience for us, not only individual council members who have trouble finding spaces to meet with constituents, but the clerk's office for meetings of larger than, say, 4 or 5 people. And that is using City Hall, using the current Public Service Center, and using the Public Service Building. So between all 3 of those facilities, we have a number of meetings that continue to create problems for us. So again, this was an attempt for us to alleviate some of that pressure and provide space for meetings, both for council members, for the legislative department, and for groups that are supported by our department.
Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and the report is adopted. The next report is from our Budget Committee, and that report will be presented by its chair, Vice President Chugtai.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Budget Committee is bringing forward one item today. Item number 1 is the appointed position in the City Attorney's Office for Managing Attorney, Labor and Employment. I'll move approval of the committee's report.
Vice President Chugtai has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and the report is adopted. Next, we'll have the report from our Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee, which will be given by that committee's chair, Councilmember Osman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee brings forward 15 items for approval. Item 1, approving on-sale liquor, no live entertainment with Sunday sales license for Mothership Pizza. Item 2 is approving on-sale liquor, no live entertainment, Sunday sales for Hope Breakfast Bar in North Loop. Item 3 is approving extended hour license for Northeast BP. Item 4 is approving a street cafe license for Caffrey Deli and Sops. Item 5 is approving on-sale liquor, no live entertainment with Sunday sales license for Salt and Flour. Item 6 is denying a zoning administrator appeal brought by Mark Thiefroff on behalf of DPH V Property LLC, 2653 37 Avenue South. Item 7 is 9 liquor license approval. Item 8 is 6 liquor license renewal. Item 9 is 1 gambling license approval. Item 10 is approving a commemorative street name addition to add the commemorative street name to Barnaretti Anderson Way to a portion of Russell Avenue North. Item 11 is accepting HUD Community Project Funding Grant for 38th and Chicago Avenue Affordable Housing Project. Item 12 is accepting 2024 Round 1 Metropolitan Council Livable Community Account Pre-Development Grants. Item 13 is authorizing Minnesota Housing Lender Participation Agreement for Minnesota Housing Home Improvement Loan Program. Item 14 is rezoning at 1315 and a half University Avenue Southeast. Item 15 is approving the amended renters' rights mandatory disclosure. Because there might be a motion regarding the renters' rights mandatory disclosure ordinance, I would like to pull item 15 for discussion and move for approval of item 1 through 14. Thank you.
Councilmember Osman has moved approval of items 1 through 14. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Council President Payne. I just want to make a comment on item number 11, which is the HUD Community Project Funding Grant for 38th Street and Chicago Avenue South Affordable Housing Project. I want to thank Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and our federal delegation for their work on this, for prioritizing this project and securing $850,000 in funding for our community. The funds will be used to invest in people living in the 38th Street Cultural District and the 38th Street Thrive target area located in the neighborhoods of Bancroft, Bryant, Central, and Putterhorn Park, which are located in both Ward 9 and Ward 8, which will help prevent displacement, advance local ownership, provide construction jobs, and support health and safety repairs to owner-occupied homes. So just wanted to highlight this incredible work. I want to thank our staff for helping with this and their advocacy around this, and also just want to thank our Congresswoman and our federal delegation. Thank you.
Councilmember Vita.
Thank you. I wanted to speak to item number 10, the commemorative street renaming of Miss Bernadette Anderson. I first want to welcome Miss Sylvia and Miss Linda, her daughters, for being here today. Miss Bernadette Anderson, also known as Queen Bernie, was a lifelong resident of Minneapolis. Not only was Miss Bernadette a mother to 6 children of her own, she was also a mother to the entire North Minneapolis community. She was known for her tough love approach. She nurtured countless numbers of young people and helped them to stay on track so they could reach their full potential. She loved children, and the door to her house was always open to all the young people who needed some love. One of the young people she helped raise was Prince. She took him in when he needed her. She was a force to be reckoned with and regularly did battle with elected officials. She fought tirelessly for the rights of Black people. Thank you to Queen Bernie's family for letting me help you honor her. This is long overdue. I was so happy when you reached out to me. I thought it had already happened, but I'm so grateful that I'm able to do this. I hear there's going to be a really big party. She also knew how to celebrate. So there's going to be a really big party in her honor and in honor of the commemorative street renaming. So again, I want to thank you to Miss Bernie's family, and this is the good work that we get to do as a Minneapolis City Council. So thank you. The North Side is forever grateful for her work. I always hear people talk about her being at the Y in North Commons working with youth. And so thank you all so much for lending her to us, and this is the least we can do in her memory. Looking forward to that party.
Thank you for that. I added myself to the queue to speak on item number 3 for the extended hours license for the Northeast BP at 27th and University. This actually came up after a real tragic shooting that happened, and we actually realized they didn't have operating license for operating 24/7. It must have been an oversight from when they had purchased the building and the business. But I've worked really closely with the owners and the second precinct inspector to put together a security plan, and this is now moving forward with an approval so that we have everything buttoned up and so that we don't have that oversight continuing in the future. And we'll be monitoring that safety plan to make sure that we're keeping the community safe. I'll recognize Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, Chair Payne. I wanted to just speak to item number 11, the funding for 38th and Chicago Affordable Housing Project. I want to thank Congresswoman Omar as well as our senators who helped to bring this forward. I have been advocating for this funding for over 2 years, visiting in Washington, D.C., talking to our delegation here. I want to shout out our IGR staff for helping to strategize and come up with a plan to submit for this kind of funding. So it's a long time coming, and hopefully there will be more, but we are really grateful for the support thus far. Thank you.
Vice President Chuck Tai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to quick speak to item number 13. That's the Minnesota Housing Lender Participation Agreement for the Minnesota Housing Home Improvement Loan Programs. This is a this type of investment in providing low and moderate income residents in our city the opportunity to receive support in purchasing their home or receive a loan to make improvements to their home. It's a big part of how we close gaps with generational wealth building in our communities. And as you all know, in Ward 10, very few people own their homes. Programs like this that help people stay in the neighborhoods and communities they love, build generational wealth, are really important, and I wanted to highlight that. Thank you.
Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. I want to echo Council President Payne's remarks about the BP station and the violence that occurred there. We had a very honest discussion, at our biz committee about the gun violence, and I want to reassure the neighbors and the employees of the Public Works building across the street who have gotten bullet holes in their windows that we are going to monitor that, and that will not be allowed to continue if it starts again. Thank you.
Seeing no one else in queue, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on items 1 through 14 of the biz report.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
Those items carry. Next, we will take up item number 15 on the biz report. I will recognize Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, President Payne. I'm wondering, maybe we want to have Councilmember Wansley begin, and then I can speak to my motion on her ordinance.
Okay, Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne and Councilmember Chowdhury. So first, I just want to share my excitement these next few minutes regarding this ordinance and it passing both committee and hopefully this body today. Earlier this year, our Policy and Research Division did an incredible job by providing the council a comprehensive overview of how other cities were responding to displacement of residents as well as increased evictions. There were a multitude of strategies included in that report, and as a start, I wanted to advance a policy that will build upon and strengthen protections that renters already have, but are unfortunately unaware of. And I think we all can agree, knowledge is power, and this ordinance is a step into leveling the unfair playing field when it comes to, the place that renters often find themselves. And I could go on and on about the horror stories that I've heard from my own constituents in the ward, especially in Como, and many of them being students who corporate landlords have designated them as easy prey. But I know many of you are aware of constituents who probably have similar experiences in your ward and who have struggled to navigate the housing market with little knowledge of what resources or rights they may be entitled to. This ordinance is demonstrating that the city is serious about compliance with renter protections, and none of us should be surprised at the pushback it has also received from the usual suspects when we talk about housing justice and fairness. And just as we have advanced this ordinance, I hope we will continue resisting the call for the status quo that often leaves renters behind when other renter protection policies make their way before this body in the upcoming weeks and months. And this ordinance is just one of many my office is working on that comes from the Policy and Research Team's Anti-Displacement and Eviction Prevention Report. And I look forward to further conversations as those legislative policies advance through our legislative process and we move to strengthen protections for renters all across our city. I also would like to give a big thank you to Councilmember Ellison, who could not join us today, but I do want to inform our clerks. I don't believe this took place in biz, but I would like to have him be added as a co-author. I thought he was already one. But I just want to give a big thank you to him. I think all of us are aware that Councilmember Ellison has been a champion of housing rights and justice for many years, and he has been an incredible partner in moving policy that has both tangible and immediate impacts that our residents feel. And I also want to thank Councilmember Chowdhury, who I know is going to be moving an amendment shortly, for her collaboration and support on strengthening this ordinance. I also want to thank you to the community organizations and partners like Homeline, as well as Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid for doing the work that they do daily. They step in and fight for renters, and I appreciate the insights that you have shared with my office on how the city could better support a fairer housing ecosystem for our residents. And I just want to conclude by thanking the renters in my ward who also helped shape this policy, as well as our regulatory service team who were incredibly transparent and collaborative throughout this entire process. Many of the staff members who were new into their positions, they worked seamlessly with our office to get this to the finish line. So I just want to thank you to our staff and their leadership for their work. And with that, I would like to move to pass the renter another mandatory disclosure ordinance with Councilmember Ellison being added as a co-author. And I will ask for a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wansley has moved item number 15. I'll recognize Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am bringing forward a motion that should be before you, colleagues. I first wanted to take a second to express my gratitude to the authors for their work on this, Homeline for their consultation specifically on this motion that's before you, and then our city attorney's office for working in collaboration with me. This is a motion that I brought forward in the biz committee and then withdrew so I could work with our city attorneys a little further and just strengthen and make sure that it is fully compliant with state law and achieves what we want it to do. This motion reads, prior to commencement of the tenancy or within the rental agreement, there shall be disclosed to the residential tenant the name and contact information of the person authorized to manage the premises and the name and physical address of the landlord or an agent authorized by the landlord to accept service of process and receive and give receipt for notices and demands. What does that mean? Essentially, the first part is making sure that in mandatory disclosure that the tenant knows who they can get in contact with if they need to. I shared on the dais a story that I experienced as a renter when I lived in a building that we thought was wonderful and then underwent severe issues around infestation, disrepair, and we were scrambling to get any assistance to connect with the property owner and the right person to address the situation. And unfortunately, this is a common occurrence for many renters in the city of Minneapolis, especially renters who are lower income, working class. So that's what the first part does. The second part is ensuring that it's accessible to the tenant and their legal representation, that there is a physical address for service of process. What is service of process? Service of process is a procedure by which a party to a lawsuit, for example, gives appropriate notice of an initial legal action to another party, such as a defendant. So the pop culture reference to this, if you think about it, is when someone shows up and says, "You have been served." There are other ways service of process is done, but that's a clear example. Service of process requires a means of delivering the service that is legally sufficient to notify the other party in going into court. And we have our city attorney, Joel Fussy, here additionally to add more clarity if members of this body has that. I'll also add that this is not breaking any new ground. This is already required within state statute, and it's essentially adopting it locally and giving regulatory services the ability to enforce the requirement. Why this is needed is oftentimes tenants don't have legal representation. They have to work for themselves. And so having this clear cut to them gives them the accessibility and opportunity. For example, if they didn't get a security deposit returned and they need to take legal action. So that is the amendment. I will stand for any questions. Our city attorney is here for them as well, and I hope to have your support.
Councilmember Chowdhury has moved this amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Jenkins, are you in queue for the underlying motion, or did you want to speak to the amendment?
Thank you, President Payne. I will speak to both. I am going to be abstaining from this vote. For full disclosure, I own one duplex that I rent out. I've been renting to primarily single women of color for the past 25 years. My mother owns a duplex. It's her only source of income. I believe that these motions, and let me just state, I've worked directly with Councilmember Ellison for 6 years to produce some of the strongest tenant rights, renters' rights in the entire nation. We spent an entire year working with Local Progress, Renters' Rights. We worked with 10 different cities across the country. None of them had any of the renters' rights that we have championed and put in place in the city of Minneapolis. I believe this ordinance and the underlying motion, as Councilmember Chowdhury stated, is already in process. We already have state law. We already have a city requirement that you must put a contact information for the landlord and or their agent. So I believe this entire ordinance and the underlying motion is redundant. So therefore, I will be abstaining from this vote. Thank you.
Councilmember Wansley.
I will add, I do think it's going to add an undue burden to property owners, and subsequently potentially will incur increased rent, which will harm the very people that this ordinance is intended to help and support. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, President Payne. I just want to reiterate gratitude to Councilmember Chowdhury for her work on this amendment. Also reiterate support for our staff, who I'm pretty sure if this was duplicative, they would have caught that. So I think we're definitely serving a need here with this ordinance, and very grateful that it builds upon existing work that leaders like Councilmember Ellison has championed and spearheaded amongst his body along with our staff. But more specifically to Councilmember Chowdhury, your amendment, which you definitely emphasize aligns with state statute, and it better informs renters of the rights they have when landlords are not being transparent and in some cases purposely misleading or ignoring tenants, which we're not going to sit here and act like does not happen. In conversations with community groups and constituents in my own ward, it was brought to my office attention that, you know, renters, especially those residing in single family homes, which is often the case for neighborhoods like Como, which is also in Ward 2, the property owner or agent will list the address of the property in question as contact for any future concerns. And this leaves the renters basically, you know, with the responsibility, as you mentioned, of doing their own homework and research to find a proper address or contact information, which can be very, very stressful to them if they're trying to get, you know, very sensitive and urgent concerns addressed regarding their shelter. So, you know, luckily we have agencies like Homeline or Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid that will step into the cracks and provide supports in those moments. But I am hopeful that this addition will get more property owners in compliance and additionally give regulatory services more tools to enforce these matters as well. So just want to say thank you for bringing this back, and I look forward to supporting it.
Vice President Chuck Tai.
Thank you, Mr. President. Want to join Councilmember Wansley in thanking Councilmember Chowdhury for bringing forward this amendment. I am very excited to support it today, and I'm grateful to the council member for her work, Mr. Chair, in pulling the amendment in committee and continuing work with staff to make sure that it was sound and ready to go today. So, and obviously a huge thank you to our city attorney's office, regulatory services, and our city staff that one, are here today, but two, did a tremendous amount of work on this ordinance. You know, I think Councilmember Jenkins outlined this earlier, and you know, her leadership in the expansive and groundbreaking work Minneapolis did in the term before last, the 2017 term, the 2018 term, on expanding tenants' rights. That's a really big deal. And I think, having just been to the local progress conference, heard from local electeds from across the country about how they look to our work to bring to their cities. And I think it's a really big deal that we have so many policies in place that protect and expand renters' rights. That's very important. We also exist in a complaint-based system. So if tenants don't know their rights, then they can't leverage our complaint-based system to right wrongs. And speaking to this amendment specifically, I'll share that last year there was a negligent property owner that owned a lot of properties around the Midwest, was based out of California, from what we could tell, and there was like a gate that was broken. There were repeated requests to fix it. Property management couldn't get a hold of the property owner. One thing led to the next, and there ended up being a shooting in this property that resulted in the loss of life and injuries to tenants, all because no one could get a hold of the property owner to fix a fence. In the aftermath of it, my office and MPD worked really closely with the tenants that were living there, getting them connected with the legal aid options that we help fund too, everyone made several attempts to get a hold of the property owner and just couldn't. Nobody had a current address. Nobody had, they weren't responding to the emails that property management had for them. And that type of negligence is what we're trying to prevent with an amendment and legislation like this. And it's really important that these types of rights exist and can be a tool. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be supporting this today, and I've had experiences, not quite similar experiences as Councilmember Chugtai, but problem properties in our ward that it was impossible to find the owner. It was impossible to try and get word to or confirmation that word was given to the owner of a property. I guess the wording on this amendment comes from the city attorney's office, but does it do anything to protect the privacy of the small landlords out there, right? Like, there are many people in our city who use as a wealth generation ability to own 1 duplex, 2 duplexes, small amounts of rental property. And I think we like that. I mean, we like local ownership of the property in our city. And, there is a small landlord in my ward who, he's a little guy. He doesn't have an office. He doesn't have, some kind of maybe he has a P.O. box or something, but is there anything done to protect the privacy here of the owners that maybe for security reasons and for reasons of the population that they are trying to rent to, don't necessarily want their family's address out there in something? Is there anything that can be done to protect the privacy of landlords in this scenario? And I guess I just asked that question openly, but I will be supporting this. I think it has a lot of good pieces in it. So thank you.
I will recognize Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Councilmember Palmisano, for the question and your support. I will invite up City Attorney Fussy to join, and I will note that, yes, that was something that was brought up within our committee to ensure that we are able to make sure landlords have privacy specifically for their personal safety. We're really intentional about the language about contact information and not address, and then the language around an authorized agent. There are legal firms that offer basically like a low-cost yearly subscription for process of legal service. And I'll let you take it from here, City Attorney.
Mr. Fussy?
President Payne, council members, thank you. Good morning. Yes, my office was able to work with Councilmember Chowdhury to refine this amendment and essentially to align it with an existing state statute, and that's 504B.181, which requires in substance exactly what is being required under this ordinance. What it does is it allows, by bringing essentially a state statute into our code, it would allow regulatory services to be more directly involved with tracking and monitoring and enforcing the requirement as well. As the council member said, there are certainly provisions that would address safety concerns or concerns regarding a home address being shared. It does not require that a home address be shared. There are other options. I would also note, as Mr. Smith from the Multi-Housing Association, I think he raised this concern in some communications this week. There is an existing state statute and program called the Safe at Home program, which is administered, I believe, by the Minnesota Secretary of State. And under that, a victim of, or qualifying victim or individual who has experienced harassment or abuse can be certified with the state to provide essentially an alternative address whenever required by any entity, including a governmental entity such as Minneapolis. And it's essentially an anonymized address, but it still would allow for receipt of notices and service of process and those things. So I believe that and that ordinance certainly applies to the city of Minneapolis, and we have experience dealing with it in business licensing and throughout the enterprise. And so I believe that the amendment does align completely with state statute, and it does address or allow for alternative options with regard to the safety issue. Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Councilmember?
It does. It gives me a little bit of pause because somebody already has to be a victim of harassment to get into the Safe at Home program, is my understanding. And it also seems like we are duplicating state law here by bringing it into city ordinance. But like you said, Mr. Fussy, it allows us to then be a little bit more directly involved in making sure that we have that information. And I do think it's good to be able to reach people and to have those notices of receipt to reach people in these kinds of, to deal with issues, everyday issues that have to do with rental housing. So thank you.
Councilmember Vita.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Palmisano. I had some of the same concerns about safety. I've had a couple of really scary incidents in my ward, actually, where someone showed up to a landlord's property that didn't like the way they kept their property, or, you know, not even the tenant. And so the protections for small owners or owners in general is important to me. We don't need this to be worse for folks. Also, just wondering, have you all baked in any education for this policy? What I'm hearing is that there is a state law that's in effect, and we're changing the ordinance here. So is there any educate? It seems like renters need some sort of education campaign, or they need their council members to reach out to them or put something in the newsletter or something and explain what the state law has been. And what I'm sure, you know, this conversation today will educate some people, but just wondering, like, what's the plan for educating folks on this this state law and now this ordinance change?
I'd recognize Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council President Payne. Councilmember Vita, and to all my colleagues, I actually just rebumped or re-forwarded the FAQ that I sent out to everyone on July 31st that has some of the questions that you raised in terms of impacts on landlords, which also addressed a concern raised by Councilmember Jenkins, where there is no fiscal cost really provided by landlords, whereas staff is going to be working with property owners to give them a template to distribute out to their tenants. It also addresses some of the educational components as well. So that's part of it, of staff working with the property owners to make sure that the templates are standardized and that they also get distributed to their tenants. So that outlines all of that information. I just want to provide clarity. Once again, we're not changing any state statute. Similar with our ordinances, state statute is referenced to make sure that we're not operating outside of, you know, our legal bounds at a state level. So if you would like the state statute number, I'm pretty sure we can include that in a follow-up email to the FAQ that our city attorney provided. But hopefully the FAQ can be a really good piece that you can share out with your constituents. I know that's why we sent it out at the end of July to try to get ahead of any questions. So hopefully that can be a tool to do some of that information sharing.
Does that answer your question, council member?
Not really, but I would like council members to think about a plan moving forward on a comprehensive plan on how renters will be educated on this ordinance in particular, since council members, have brought this forward. A big part of this, what I'm hearing is people are not educated, and it's important that if you're going to change something, put the time into educating folks on what their rights are as renters. So no, my question wasn't answered, but I would appreciate some conversations in the future about the plan on educating folks when we're just bumping up state law.
Yeah, I just wanted to, the ordinance that we're passing itself is a tool of education. It's being provided by the property owner to the tenant, the receipt of their rights. So I do want to emphasize, like, this is what this ordinance is for. I see our regulatory service director coming forward too, who can share the staff's plan as well for disseminating that information.
So let me just reset here. We have some folks in queue and priority.
Council President Payne, it's just Reg Services is going to be doing some education on this, and that's why I was going to call the director up.
Director.
Good morning, President Payne, council members. Thank you for the opportunity. Enrique Velasquez, Director of Regulatory Services. With respect to the educational components, we already plan a communication campaign specific with our rental property owners. The rental licenses, they are set to expire in March of the following year, March of every single year. So as part of that effort, we are doing communication, proactive communication leading up until that point. And then as the rental licenses are renewed, providing some additional content with those renewal documents so that they have almost like a HIPAA disclosure. They have a disclosure of here's what those additional rental rights are in response to the new ordinance amendment that's coming forward. We're also launching additional campaigns with respect to renters' rights. We had a renters' rights fair just this past summer that was wildly successful. We plan on continuing that effort going into community to make sure that renters are aware of what's happening, what their rights are, so that we can keep on amplifying that messaging.
Thank you for answering my question, Director.
My pleasure.
Councilmember Wansley.
Oh, no, I already referenced. Please check your inbox and read the FAQs and share that. Thank you.
Vice President Trugtai.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I'm going to remove myself from queue.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I am curious. It sounds like landlords are going to need some education as well. Is there a plan to educate landlords, for example, the safe at home plan, or ways that they can keep themselves safe? I mean, if they have to go and learn these rights, it seems like tenants should then have to go learn these rights, or we provide this information to everybody involved. And honestly, I believe it is the city's responsibility to be informing people about their rights, whether it's the renters and or the landlords. So is there a plan to educate property owners about their rights?
Director.
Thank you. President Payne, Councilmember Jenkins, yes, there is a plan that's still materializing in terms of what the outreach effort looks like, in terms of being able to communicate what those rights are, what the change means to both the property owner as well as to the renter. And we have the FAQ that was already developed. We have some additional resources that we will develop and push out to property owners so that we can educate them as much as possible. And we're also looking at potentially incorporating into the renter property owners and managers workshop and other avenues to try and amplify the messaging as much as possible and get to every property owner.
So, City Attorney Fussy referenced a number of ways to anonymize yourself to remain safe. I mean, will we be educating those property owners on those ways to anonymize their properties and or their personal information?
Yes. President Payne, Councilmember Jenkins, yes, that is part of the proactive outreach and engagement efforts, is making sure that those that are the independent property owners, that they are aware of what those different mechanisms are to protect themselves legally as well as protect their personal information. And really what the ordinance requires is that there's an identifiable responsible person. That person could be the property manager, it could be an organization that specializes in property management. It doesn't necessarily have to be the individual and their personally identifiable information. So we will make sure that that information is shared so that everyone knows how to protect themselves as well as continue being good stewards and good property owners.
And I'm only smiling because literally that information is on the lease. A person to contact for whatever, service of process, for how to get my leaky toilet fixed or whatever the issue is, that is already a part of any lease that you enter into. So again, it feels redundant, but thank you, sir, for answering my questions.
And then I added myself to queue just to, share my gratitude for this ordinance and this amendment. The last time that I was a renter was nearly 20 years ago. And at that time, I would just go to my landlord's house down the street and drop a check off for rent, and I knew exactly who to contact. And, serving on city council now, I'm experiencing renters through the perspective of my constituents, and the landscape of what it means to be a renter in our city is very different now than it was 20 years ago. Having to hunt down a property manager, hunt down an owner to help resolve an issue is something that is extremely difficult sometimes, and that's something that didn't used to exist 20 years ago. We didn't have all of these corporate, corporate-owned apartment buildings with owners that may be out of the state. I typically knew exactly where I needed to go to drop off rent or to get some support. The phone number and the person's personal information was pretty readily available. And so this is just a reflection of what it means to have a diverse and representative government from my perspective, and I'm really grateful to my colleagues for bringing this forward. With that, I see no one else in queue, so I will ask the clerk to call the roll on the Chowdhury amendment.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Abstain.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Abstain.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes and 2 abstentions.
That amendment carries. Next, we will take up item 15 as amended. And for those in queue, if you are still wanting to speak to the main motion, maybe readjust your participation in queue. Otherwise, I will call on Councilmember Chowdhury.
I will remove myself from queue, Mr. President.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. I'm grateful for the authors and for those who brought amendments forward and for the FAQ and the discussion that we've had in the biz committee the last couple cycles, because I think it's helped a lot of people understand the utility of this ordinance change. We want the renters in our city to make informed decisions about their housing, and I see this as a preventative tool to get more information on the table before issues become a problem. And I have a lot of tier 3 high rises in my ward, and hearing from renters all the time about mold in their apartment, about floods, about appliances that don't work, and all kinds of issues that then I have to guide them through how to make a case through 311, how to make a regulatory services housing violation complaint. And I think that getting more information about the quality of their housing in front of renters before they make a decision to sign a lease will be a preventative tool to help us not have to use, so many of our resources and time to address it after the fact. So I think this is a really useful ordinance, and I myself brought an amendment to this ordinance that was requiring a disclosure around recycling services at the property. So this is duplicative, and that's the point. Recycling is already required by law in our city. However, compliance is very low, and we do not have funding for enforcement. So just because there's already a law on the books does not mean that it's being upheld by all the property owners in the city. And so just having the landlord provide the information about how to recycle at their property is a step to make sure that both the landlord is educated on how to provide recycling and that the tenant is educated on how to recycle at their property. So that's, for those who are maybe wondering about that amendment, which we discussed a bit at Biz last week, that is the purpose of that amendment. It was suggested by our Public Works Department. It came from them, it was written by them, and I took it up and authored it because I thought it was a really good idea to help us get better compliance with our recycling ordinance in the city and to be proactive. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be supporting this ordinance today.
Councilmember Osman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to really thank Councilmember Wansley for bringing this forward, and also, of course, Councilmember Ellison, who has been a champion for tenants' rights since I've been here. As a council member who has probably the highest percentage of renters, 90+% in my ward, there's so many issues that I see every day. Even this week, I visited an apartment in my ward that are not a livable condition. And when I talk to the residents that live in that apartment, they are afraid of retaliation even reporting it. So the displacement, the abuse is real. Not all landlords are bad. There are good ones, and I thank them for their service for our residents. But there are bad ones out there, and people do not know their rights. They're not privileged to speak English. They're not privileged to be educated, college educated, or even basic educated. There are many tenants that really are struggling, and it's for us to keep them safe, to make sure that we are strengthening our policies and increasing the enforcement. And the point of education, Councilmember Vita brought it up, is really important that we need to educate our residents. 2020, when I came in here, I think my first action was tenant education amendment for budget amendment. And we need to make sure that we are strengthening our Department of Regulatory Services staff and increasing the enforcement. If we do that, then we can get behind the issue that residents face every day in our ward, in our city of Minneapolis. So I think also it's important to have a good relationship with the landlords to make sure that they are getting updated, our policies that we are creating. But there's a huge gap that's missing, and which is not every renter knows their rights, and there's many barriers that they face, especially in my ward. So again, thank Councilmember Wansley for bringing this forward, and I fully support this. Thank you.
Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, President Payne. I want to thank Councilmember Wansley for her leadership and the Ward 2 team. I think their team is doing a phenomenal job when it comes to advocating for renters in our city, and I know they worked really hard on this particular ordinance, so I just want to show my gratitude to her and her team, along with Councilmember Ellison, who is obviously sick today, and the Ward 5 team on this policy. It's a really good thing. I also want to thank our staff's help on this ordinance, explaining what it is, how it's going to work, and with their help on the policy and the amendments that came forward over the past few weeks. This policy is pro-renter, it's pro-people, it's a very good thing, and it's a big day for renters and residents of the city of Minneapolis. I think about the many conversations I've had with many Ward 9 residents whose rights have been violated. I think about the many Ward 9 residents who are unaware of the current rights that they have. And I know that this ordinance in particular is going to help with education. It's going to help achieve compliance or some form of compliance. And it will provide more transparency to renters in our city. And I believe that when residents know their rights, it is one of the best ways to prevent violations regarding their renter protection. So, again, a big kudos to Councilmember Wansley and her Ward 2 team, along with Councilmember Ellison and the Ward 5 team. I'll be proud to support this.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. It's very clear that this ordinance will pass, and it will provide protections for renters in our city. I hope that at some point, we are going to be educating renters about how to be good renters. I have been renting to residents for over 25 years, and I can guarantee you not every renter is an angel. In fact, the biggest issues I hear in my ward is from neighbors complaining about the renters in the issues that they present. So we need to be educating renters on how to be good renters as well as their rights as renters. Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Vita.
Thank you. I'm abstaining from this because I find it problematic that as a council member, when I have questions, I get it's like defensive or something. And then you, Mr. Chair, you don't push back on that. You know, I have questions. I represent 33,000 people. It should not be a burden for a council member who's bringing something forward to answer my questions. I had a whole lot more to ask, but it feels uncomfortable. If folks are going to get defensive and refer back to FAQs from months ago or whatever, that's cool, but that's still not answering my question. So I really need council leadership to look at what's happening, maybe go back and look at some of these meetings, because it's not okay when a council member has a question or some concerns about a vote that they're going to take for them to not get the question answered, not feel satisfied, but get these defensive non-answers back, and then I'm expected to just go with the flow because I'm being told there was something sent to me months ago or even last night or whenever it was. I don't think it's okay. I think it's a bad look for this entire council if we sit here and watch others not answer questions and then be talked down to like our concerns and our questions don't matter.
Seeing no one else in queue, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Abstain.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Abstain.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes and 2 abstentions.
That carries, and that is adopted as amended. The next report is from our Climate and Infrastructure Committee, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Climate and Infrastructure Committee is bringing forward 5 items today. Item number 1 is passage of an ordinance relating to the right-of-way franchise holder exemption. Item number 2 is adopting a report designating the 2025 citywide streetlight operation. Item number 3 is adopting a report designating the 2025 citywide street maintenance assessment. Item number 4 is authorizing negotiation with property owners for construction easements for 2025 pedestrian ramps. And item number 5 is authorizing the creation of a personal delivery device pilot permit program. And I'll move approval of all items.
Councilmember Cashman has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Council President Payne. I just want to briefly highlight item number 5, which is authorizing the creation of a 1-year pilot program for issuing permits to operators of personal delivery devices. This pilot is taking place in Ward 2 at the University of Minnesota. And I want to thank the public works staff who did engage my office on this issue and was receptive towards addressing many of the concerns that I relayed about this pilot. And I just want to acknowledge that I have also heard a lot of concerns from workers regarding robotic personal delivery devices. And while getting a pizza delivered by a cute toy robot sounds fun, there are impacts, and I want to make sure that as a city we are having a robust conversation with our labor groups and other community members who also are raising concerns about this technology and the impacts it might have to the right-of-way, which requires public access. I do look forward to learning more about this particular technology through this pilot, and I also look forward to engaging other cities who maybe have already learned a lot about these services and the impacts to shape policy here in Minneapolis. Similarly to what happened with Uber and Lyft and scooter services, technology companies drop into cities that have unregulated markets and were forced to respond reactively when, negative impacts occurred. And I would like to avoid that pattern and be proactive. That said, I do plan to formally take legislative action and working in consultation with our city attorneys and city staff to understand what appropriate regulations we can put in place. Because again, don't want to replicate any potential mistakes, and just want to let the public know that I've heard your concerns and I take them serious. And I really do look forward to shaping a policy that does not negatively impact residents' livelihood, ranging from labor impacts to safety concerns while utilizing public sidewalks. So just wanted to flag that. And again, thanks to the staff.
Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. I want to speak briefly on the first item, the right-of-way franchise holder exemption ordinance. This will eliminate the exemption that utility franchise holders currently have to paying permit fees in the city. This will bring XL and Centerpoint in compliance with state statute and bring them in line with other municipalities in the state. They will now need to pay permit fees to do work in the right-of-way in our city. So closing this loophole is estimated to help us recover over $100,000 each year in fees. And this will ensure that we also have data from Centerpoint and XL about the location and timing of the capital projects and utility work that they do in the right-of-way. So it's one of our goals in the Climate Infrastructure Committee to create policy that helps us coordinate more closely between Public Works and with Centerpoint and XL, the utilities, to reduce the burden that this work places on residents when it happens on their sidewalk or in front of their house, and to also make our city more resilient to climate change. Thank you.
Vice President Chugtai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to speak on item number 1, the right-of-way franchise holder exemption ordinance by Councilmember Cashman, and want to thank her for her work and thank the staff in our city that in the city attorney's office and within the health department that worked closely with her on this ordinance. This is a really big deal, and a part of that is the amount of work that is still left to do, and it's going to. The amount of work that we as a city and local governments have to do across the country on building resiliency in our communities to mitigate the worst impacts of our deteriorating climates. Every single thing that we do, big or small, to make progress towards that, it matters a lot. I see this ordinance as a significant victory on our large body of work that is climate action. I also think it's really an important aspect of corporate accountability within our city, right? The utilities are worth tens of billions of dollars. They extract from our climate. They're large contributors of our carbon emissions and often can stand in the way of progress. And I think that as a city, we both want to continue working with the utilities on figuring out how we as a city best meet our climate goals. Our residents are able to, breathe clean air, drink clean water, not experience the worst impacts of climate change, and hold them accountable. This is a part of doing that. Everyone else is held to the same standard that they will now be as well. And this is a really big deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else in discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitom.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the report is adopted. The next report is from the Committee of the Whole, which will be presented by that committee's Vice Chair, Councilmember Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee of the Whole moves one item for approval. That is the Community Commission on Police Oversight Bylaws, approving bylaws for the Community Commission Police Oversight Bylaws, as I said, authorizing standing committees for the Community Commission on Police Oversight.
Councilmember Chowdhury has moved the committee's report. Is there any discussion? I added myself to queue just to recognize that, we have a lot of work that we need to do when it comes to police reform, and it's not going to show up in any one act that we take on this body, whether that's approving these bylaws, creating the CCPO in the first place, approving the police contract. But as we stay vigilant on each of these actions, we will start incrementally moving in the right direction. And so I think that there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. One of the big things here that I do want to uplift is the creation of the standing committees that's going to add more transparency to the work of the CCPO. It's one of the things I was addressing in some of my amendments of CCPO that we're currently working through. And I also wanted to just, so that the rest of the members of the body know, in the audit committee on Wednesday, we passed a resolution to have our city auditor look into the use of coaching as a practice and make sure that we have transparency systems in place. So each one of these steps alone is not going to solve our police reform problem, but as we continue to have these items, it's important to recognize that there's a body of work that we're taking as a legislative body that I'm hoping is going to translate into meaningful differences on the ground. So those are my comments. I see no one else in queue, so I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osmond.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vitom.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the report is adopted. The final report will be offered by our Public Health and Safety Committee, which will be presented by that committee's chair, Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Public Health and Safety Committee is bringing forward 7 items. Item number 1 is a passage of a resolution amending the 2024 General Appropriations Resolution passed July 1st, 2024 by updating the Funding Revenue Code. Item number 2 is authorizing the submittal of a grant application to the U.S. Department of Justice National Sexual Assault Kit Initiative. Item number 3 is accepting a grant from and authorizing an agreement with the DWI Court of the State of Minnesota for a police liaison to the DWI Court and DWI Defendant Monitoring Services. Item number 4 is authorizing a joint powers agreement with Hennepin County for 5 full-time embedded social workers employed by the county. Item number 5 is authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the Metropolitan Police Department of Washington, D.C. for police officer participation in the Presidential Inauguration Task Force from January 17, 2025 to January 21st, 2025. Item number 6 is accepting a grant from Hennepin County Healthy Tree Canopy Program for the exploration of developing a tree preservation ordinance. And item number 7 is authorizing the submittal of a grant application to the United States Department of Agriculture for a composting and food waste reduction grant to expand strategies to prevent food waste. With that, I'll move approval of all these 7 items.
Councilmember Chavez has moved approval of the committee's report. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to highlight item number 6, the Hennepin County Healthy Tree Canopy Grant. As many of you know, I'm really passionate about trees and the value that they bring, especially in terms of shade and also carbon offset. I've volunteered my entire adult life with organizations dedicated to the preservation of trees, whether it's neighborhood organizations using a local family's foundation money to help treat trees for those who needed help or incentives to fund it, to the Tree Commission, to the Green Cities Accord, formerly Green Minneapolis. In my ward, I've worked with developers to save as many trees as possible, sometimes successfully and sometimes not. I've seen developers come in and basically clear cut a lot to be able to build whatever they want, even going so far as to pay the park board fees to remove boulevard trees as a basic cost of doing business. A year or two ago, we had an instance of a tree that was almost 100 years old that a developer took down because it was in the way of the new expanded driveway that they had proposed. We need to stop this type of behavior and really treat some of these trees as assets in our community. I've already reached out to the health department and asked to participate in this exploration of creating a tree preservation ordinance, and I'm thrilled at the possibility that we're doing this. So thank you.
Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, President Payne. I'm excited about item number 4, which is a joint parts agreement with Hennepin County for 5 full-time embedded social workers employed by the county. This will allow the program to continue. As you all know, this is a program that we are already in and will help with responses to mental health, substance use, and social service-related calls to 911 and more. And just like Councilmember Palmisano, and I want to thank her for her leadership regarding this work, I'm also excited about it as well. And just for background, it will help provide a grant that will help hire a consultant to explore and develop a tree preservation ordinance, including performing outreach and gathering inputs from community members, the city and the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board staff, and contractors to inform a potential ordinance. That is a really good thing. I look forward to seeing what this could look like, and I'm particularly interested in the work that can be done in the green zones to address the environmental concerns that people have, pollution, and help preserve some of our trees as a way to also reduce the cost burden on some of our residents. Thank you.
Vice President Chuck Tai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm really thrilled to hear some of the comments from Councilmember Palmisano earlier regarding item number 6, the tree canopy grant. It just caught my attention, and if Hennepin County wants to give us $50,000, that's great, we'll take them. But, for the exploration of an ordinance and having that money appropriated into the health department, it felt important to me that we have a member of the council that is involved in ordinance creation, right, throughout the entire process. This is ordinance creation and legislation is entirely our lane. And so I'm really glad that the council member is going to be involved in the exploration of this ordinance and continue her work and advocacy on this really important issue. Thank you.
Seeing no other discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries and the report is adopted. Thank you, colleagues. That completes the reports of all of our standing committees. The next order of business is notice of ordinance introductions, and we have 5 notices to give today. The first two notices are from Councilmember Osman, who gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the City Council ordinances amending the zoning code and the license and business regulations code. These ordinances are to create regulations and a registration program for cannabis businesses. The third notice is from Councilmember Ellison, who plans to introduce at the next regular meeting the subject matter of an ordinance amending the zoning code, clarifying issues related to the administration of the zoning code. Fourth, Councilmember Osman gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting of the subject matter of an ordinance amending the zoning code, amending enclosed building requirement for footlockers. Finally, Councilmember Cashman gives notice of intent to introduce at the next regular meeting the subject matter of an ordinance amending Appendix D1 of the Code of Ordinances to extend the Xcel Energy franchise through April 17th, 2025. Are there any questions on any of those ordinances? Food locker. Hello.
Food locker. Thank
Food
you.
locker. Good catch. Are there any questions on those notices? I'll recognize Councilmember Cashman.
Oh, thank you, President Payne. I want to ask the clerks to please add Council Vice President Chugtai as a co-author of the Electric Franchise Fee Extension Ordinance. That's all. Thanks.
I think the clerks are noting that. Vice President Chugtai?
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to speak to item number 5, the electric franchise fee extension ordinance. I'm really grateful to be working with Council Member Cashman on this, and this is a really important part. The franchise agreements with our 2 utility companies, Xcel Energy, CenterPoint Energy, are an important part of addressing, or are an important part of climate action, and I'm glad that we're going to extend some more time before we have an agreement for the next several years, and we are all very committed to making sure as a city, from staff to the mayor's office to the council, that we have a franchise agreement with both of these companies that meets our community's needs and addresses what we need for the next 10 years. Thank you.
I'll recognize Councilmember Osman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Cannabis is coming to our city. We know the state of Minnesota passed cannabis, legalizing cannabis use, so we are getting ready for make sure that everything is we're ready, and before the state, I guess, give the license to businesses and so on. So we will get more information as we go on. The staff has been working tirelessly for many months now, and we will get a wonderful presentation from them. So just look out for that. Also, the food lockers is another ordinance that I will be bringing. I think that it's, I have in my ward, it's located the largest food shelf in the state of Minnesota, and people line up for so long lines. So we're trying to be, they're trying to be a very creative way to have food placed for folks that are coming, if they have a child pickup, or they don't really have to wait on the line. They can have a locker where their food could be stored, and they can come and get it from that. We already know the Amazon kind of system provides that for folks. So it's a creative way for people to eat, to make sure that this organization who has been serving in our neighborhood is their ideas. I'll have more details as we come. So just to make sure that our codes are really serving the residents of Minneapolis. So with that, that's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Foundry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say thanks to Councilmember Osman and our city staff for bringing forward the cannabis business regulations ordinance and the business registration ordinance. I'm very excited to see this come forward. I know that the social equity applications for many have been submitted already to the state when it comes to making sure that we are doing economic development around cannabis businesses equitably within the city of Minneapolis. I had the opportunity to meet a couple applicants who are really excited and are looking forward to connecting with our city as we take steps forward in this process. And I just really wanted to center the fact that this is a really great opportunity for our city, both on the economic development side, but also creating local business that is equity focused right at the start and not catching up, which is something that we have historically had to do. So looking forward to following this closely and seeing it in our committees.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, President Payne. I too wanted to just shout out Councilmember Osmond for bringing this intent to introduce an ordinance forward. We do need to be proactive on this process. It is going to be a significant economic development tool, and we need to ensure that we are have all the regulations, zoning, et cetera, in place in order to be able to have the most impactful scenario for these businesses to operate. I'm curious, what is this emanating from the CPED department, or who is sort of managing this process?
I'll recognize.
CPED.
Go ahead.
CPED is. I can connect you to the lead staff.
Thank you, sir.
Seeing no further discussion, those notices are hereby given and no further action is required at this time. The next order of business is resolutions as shown on the agenda. We have 3 honorary resolutions today. Are there any questions or comments from council members on any of those resolutions? May I have a motion to adopt those resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Koski is absent. Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries and those resolutions are adopted. We'll now move on to new business. We have 2 items under new business today. First is Mayor Fry's nomination of Rachel Sayer to the appointed position of Emergency Management Director for a term ending in January 2026. I'll move to refer this nomination to the Public Health and Safety Committee for the setting of a public hearing. May I have a second to that motion?
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from council members? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rainville is absent. Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes.
That carries, and the nomination is referred to the PHS committee. Next, we have receipt of Mayor Fry's 2025 recommended budget, which was presented yesterday. I will recognize the Budget Committee Chair, Vice President Chugtai, for a motion on this item.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will move to send this item to refer item number 2 under new business to the Budget Committee for us to receive and file.
Vice President Chugtai has moved to refer consideration of the 2025 budget to the Budget Committee. May I have a second to that motion?
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from council members? Seeing no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes.
That carries, and the mayor's 2025 recommended budget has been referred to the Budget Committee. We have a request for a closed session today, so before we recess for that closed session, I'll ask if there are any announcements from council members. Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did want to just acknowledge, as we have done resolutions and proclamations supporting two items that are coming up this weekend. One is the 90th anniversary of the Minneapolis Spokesman and Recorder. It's the longest running community newspaper in the entire state. And they are celebrating their 90th year with an event at the depot, as well as a cruise on Lake Minnetonka, et cetera, as well as acknowledging that POC Pride is this weekend. We did a resolution supporting that effort, and they are having multiple events throughout the weekend, and so just wanted to recognize those two organizations and the work that they are doing in our community and say congratulations and happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Councilmember Vita.
Thank you. I just wanted to first thank my colleagues for supporting me last year in a budget amendment to have a study done on the Canadian Pacific Railroad line that goes through my ward. We have gotten to a really happy place with that project. Tonight, the Ward 4 office, along with Public Works and TKDA, are going to be hosting a community meeting to discuss this. I know you all have heard me say it before, but I'll say it again. This railroad crossing in 3 different places in Ward 4, if you've ever been up there, you know that it is terrible sometimes. And so to have this study done to explore ideas for options on infrastructure is a big deal to Northsiders, and particularly Ward 4 residents. The project has been named Connecting Camden. It's super exciting. So I'm asking Ward 4 residents and also my colleagues, if you want to join us tonight at Camden High School, 5:30 p.m. At 4320 Newton Avenue North for a community meeting. We're going to hear from TKDA. We're in the process of applying for planning dollars. They are really positive about our application. They believe that we check every box for a successful application. So this may be the most exciting thing. I'm just going to say it. This may be the most exciting thing that's ever happened over North. So, so join me if you can tonight. But also we have an online survey that folks can participate in. And I'd love for anyone that has an experience with this railroad line in North Minneapolis to, if not join us tonight and future meetings, to also go and fill out the survey.
Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, President Payne. I just wanted to use this opportunity to thank our election and voter services staff for the work that they all did in this primary election. They worked really hard to make sure that as many people in our city could vote, and also want to thank the city clerk's office as well. So just wanted to acknowledge their work.
Vice President Chugtai.
Thank you, Mr. President. This weekend, this Saturday, is Uptown Porch Fest. Last year was the first time the Lowry Hill East neighborhood or the Wedge hosted Uptown Porch Fest, and it went really well. Lots of local artists. People had so much fun. And then this year, they're doing it again this Saturday. More details can be found at uptownporchfest.com if you're interested. And then the following morning, the Neighborhood Association is hosting a neighborhood cleanup for any of the litter that's generated. So, you know, come to Ward 10. I don't know.
Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the indulgence. I wanted to take just a moment to highlight one of my colleagues, one of our coworkers who will soon be leaving us. I mentioned this the other day in the Budget Committee, and there's not a lot of time to pull together a resolution. This will be the last meeting of the City Council before Kate Redden, our Administrative Services Manager, is moving onward and upward to a new and exciting opportunity at the state, and her last day in the office will be next Friday. All council members know that Kate is a critical part of our department's core administrative team. She is the glue that keeps our entire department hold together. And so she joined the city about 7 years ago now. She started in a temporary position in our Elections and Voter Services Division. She's very passionate about ballot access and about serving voters. We were quick to hire her as soon as a vacancy occurred because it was obvious that Kate is a star employee. And as expected, she took charge of running the Elections Division, just like the well-oiled machine that it is. Her incredible attention to detail, her can-do and get-it-done approach to the work, and her focus on service all make her a standout candidate for any position, so it's no surprise that we nabbed her as soon as possible and brought her into the central administration of our department. She joined us at a very critical time, too. It was right after the voter-approved government structure amendment became effective, and we were tasked with consolidating the City Council, the Office of City Clerk, the Office of City Auditor, which was also newly formed. So she's been at the center of all of that work, managing our department's finances, our budget. She handles all of our personnel administrative work, employee matters, and attends to a myriad of details that keep the trains running on schedule and on track. We will all miss Kate very much, and it will be a challenge to find anyone who can match her standards, but we're also very happy and proud for her and of her, and wanted to just take a moment to recognize her incredible contributions that she's made to our department, to the entire city enterprise during her tenure. The state is very, very fortunate to have chosen someone who is a true public servant, passionately dedicated to the work of serving people. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we've completed all of the items on our agenda, and we will now consider the request for a closed session, which is to receive a briefing on the litigation matter of Simmons v. Brown et al. Before I move to close the meeting, I'll recognize the city attorney to provide the legal basis for the requested closed session.
Thank you, President Payne. The next item on the agenda is the case of Simmons v. Brown et al., as you mentioned. It's case file number 24CV0886. This case is in active litigation in federal court. Your lawyers wish to discuss with the City Council litigation strategy and/or settlement possibilities. Accordingly, under the Minnesota Open Meeting Law, Minnesota Statutes, Section 13D.05, Subdivision 3B, the council may, upon a proper motion, close the meeting for the purposes of attorney-client communications. In considering this motion, the council should weigh the right of the public to know what its government is doing against the need of the city to preserve the confidentiality of its discussions with its attorneys.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. I move to close our public meeting as authorized under the Open Meeting Law, specifically Minnesota Statutes Section 13D.05, for the purpose of receiving a briefing on the litigation matter of Simmons v. Brown et al. May I have a second to that motion?
Second.
The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman is absent. Councilmember Rainville is absent. Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Vita.
Present.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Shugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 9 ayes.
That carries. For the viewing public, I will note that the broadcast of this meeting will continue, and the council will reconvene in public after we've concluded the closed session. Ready? The time is now 12:19, and the City Council has reconvened in open session following our closed session. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to prove the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Present.
Councilmember Cashman.
Present.
Councilmember Osman.
Present.
Councilmember Rainville is absent. Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilmember Vita.
Present.
Councilmember Ellison is absent. Councilmember Koski is absent. Councilmember Wansley.
Present.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Present.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Present.
Vice President Chugtai.
Present.
President Payne.
Present.
There are 10 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. I will recognize Vice President Chugtai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that all claims, including claims for attorney's fees and costs asserted against the City of Minneapolis in Asante Jahi Simmons v. Alexander Vladimir Brown and the City of Minneapolis, United States District Court File Number 24-CV-0886, be settled in the amount of $275,000 payable in 2 checks, one in the amount of $183,194.84 to Asante Simmons, and the other in the amount of $91,805.16 to Jordan Kushner from Fund Org 069001500145400. The City Attorney's Office is authorized to execute any documents necessary to effectuate the settlement.
Vice President Chugtai has moved a settlement. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? I'll recognize Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, President Payne. I just want to acknowledge that this incident of injustice took place downtown in Ward 7 and has been reported on by the Star Tribune. And with the settlement today, I really wish the best for Mr. Simmons.
Seeing no further discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Chowdhury.
Aye.
Councilmember Cashman.
Aye.
Councilmember Osman.
Aye.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Councilmember Wansley.
Aye.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice President Chugtai.
Aye.
President Payne.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes.
That carries, and that settlement is adopted. With no further business to come before the council and without objection, this meeting is adjourned.